China says it regrets Panama's decision to pull out of the Belt and Road Initiative. It's accusing the U.S. of smearing, quote, smearing, and sabotaging what Beijing sees as a flagship international project. Panama's decision follows what has been a tumultuous diplomatic tussle over the Central American nation's canal. U.S. President Donald Trump has insisted it is the U.S. that should control the Panama Canal. He says the waterway has fallen under Chinese influence, a claim denied by both Beijing and Panama City. President Jose Raul Mulino denying the withdrawal from the BRI is the result of pressure from Washington, saying that decision was taken even before U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio visited the country over the weekend. Beijing's foreign ministry urging Panama to reconsider.
近年，中巴两国在共建“一带一路”框架下的合作取得丰硕成果，不断造福两国人民。希望巴方从双边关系的大局和两国人民的长远利益出发，排除外来干扰，做出正确决定。
And for more on this story, we're joined by our correspondents in Beijing and Washington, D.C. Olivia Siong in Beijing. Let's bring you in first. Olivia, we just heard there from China's foreign ministry. It's clearly not happy about Panama's pullout from the Belt and Road Initiative. How else has it reacted?
Wei Su, this really isn't just about Panama, but it has to be viewed in the broader China-U.S. competition that is intensifying in many regions, the spotlight, though, being on Latin America in the last few weeks. The foreign ministry not just responding to Panama's decision, but also separately to comments made by U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio about China's cooperation with Latin American countries. The foreign ministry hitting out, saying that these are groundless comments aimed at sowing discord amid what it says is normal cooperation. Now, the Trump administration has called for Panama to take action to curb Chinese influence in the Panama Canal area at a time when analysts are saying that the U.S. has seen waning influence in the region, and as the Chinese influence has been increasing, including through initiatives like the Belt and Road Initiative, which is a flagship project of Chinese President Xi Jinping, first announced back in 2013, a mega infrastructure initiative to build railways, airports, seaports, power plants to connect not just Asia, but also connect Asia to Africa, Europe, and beyond. And it's on this platform that we have seen China have growing cooperation with now more than 150 countries, including with about 20 Latin American countries. Also to note that Panama was the first Latin American country to sign a Belt and Road Cooperation Agreement after it switched diplomatic ties from Taipei to Beijing back in 2017. But these concerns surrounding the Belt and Road Initiative and Chinese influence are not new. The initiative has faced criticism from some quarters about being a debt trap for less developed countries. There have also been concerns raised about the environmental impact of these projects and it being a tool to grow Chinese influence in various regions as well. All of these China has denied repeatedly, and China maintains even today, the foreign ministry is saying that the Belt and Road Initiative is an economic cooperation project that it says has benefited countries like Panama. Wei Su.
Nick, you heard Olivia there, Nick Harper in Washington, D.C., Olivia outlining what is really a signature policy for Chinese President Xi Jinping. Of course, Panama's president has denied that this pullout is a consequence of considering any pressure from Washington. The presidents of Panama and the U.S. due to talk on the telephone in just a few hours. How is that conversation likely to go?
Well, so considering that the President Mulino, has said there has been lies spread by the United States, Donald Trump is unlikely to go into this conversation in a very friendly type of mood. Those lies that President Mulino was referring to are State Department claims put out on social media that Panama has now decided to waive any fees for U.S. ships passing through the Panama Canal. The Canal Authority itself has, however, refuted that, saying, "We have not made any adjustments to our fees." President Mulino has said simply and plainly that this is intolerable and said that they are lies. So that's likely to set the stage for a rather fiery conversation between the two leaders. However, Panama pulling out of the Belt and Road Initiative might help to soften the blow. The United States might go into this conversation feeling that they have the upper hand, that Panama is on their side, because the US is very much spinning this as a win for Washington. Panama pulling out of the Belt and Road Initiative, according to Secretary of State Marco Rubio, is a victory and helps to push out that perceived Chinese influence around the Panama Canal, something that Donald Trump has railed against and has pushed very hard to remove, because there has been that pressure campaign by the new US president, even threatening that the US would take the Panama Canal back by force, seizing it from Panama. So that pressure campaign seems to have resulted in Panama pulling out of the Belt and Road Initiative. It seems to suggest that Panama, under pressure, is willing to work with Washington, but it's really a question of what comes next. And I think that is something that will need to be hashed out in the phone call between the two leaders. Will Donald Trump continue to push that idea of invading Panama, essentially, to take back the canal, or will he soften his tone as a result of Panama's moves when it comes to China? It's really a case of that diplomatic tussle now, as both sides try and push backwards and forwards, but Washington, seeing the removing of that perceived Chinese influence, will certainly win favourable points, I think, in Donald Trump's column when they go into this conversation later on today.
So a slightly easier phone call, but this diplomatic tussle not put to bed for a good while yet. Thanks for that, Olivia Siong in Beijing and Nick Harper in Washington, D.C. So how did the Panama Canal land at the heart of this geopolitical power play? It's mainly due to its position as a critical trade and military artery. The 82-kilometre-long waterway has been hailed as an engineering marvel, helping ships cut travel time and circumvent more dangerous routes. When a ship enters the canal, a system of locks keeps water in place to lift the ships. Oh, you can see that as a sort of maritime elevator, where each tank is filled to raise the ship until it is approximately 26 meters above sea level, and then it lowers it back, allowing it to breach the continental divide separating the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. A ship would take 27 days to get from New York to San Francisco if it traversed the southern tip of South America through Cape Horn. But travel time is compressed to just 11 days if it passes through the Panama Canal. But operators say severe droughts are straining the waterway, and combined with upgrades and high demand, this has led to an increase in canal fees. Revenues reached $4.8 billion in the 12 months to September 2023. That's up more than 60% from just 5 years prior. And the canal's number one customer, it is, of course, the United States. American vessels moved about 100 million tons in cargo through the waterway last year. That's more than 4 times the volume shipped by China. But Chinese companies manage ports on both sides of the canal, and President Trump is not happy about that. While he has accused China of operating the canal, President Trump is not the first to raise concerns over Chinese presence. American lawmakers on both sides of the aisle have used it as an example of Beijing's efforts to strengthen its foothold in the region. Both China and Panama have denied any Chinese control of the canal.